Welcome to the Manifestation and Money podcast, where we bridge the worlds of the taboo topic of money with the woo-woo world of manifestation. We're your hosts, Chris and Jenni Schultz.
We're not just about dollars and cents around here. We're all about lifestyle design. You can be working towards financial independence while still living a life you love today.
Get ready for insightful conversations with guests who have embraced the FIRE movement by achieving financial independence and retiring early, as well as entrepreneurs and individuals who defied the norm and have paved their own way to a life they love.
Together, we'll explore the powerful connection between mindset, financial freedom, and living a purposeful life. And of course, we'll be sharing our own journey to how we carved our path to a seven-figure net worth before hitting the big 4-0. Are you ready to ignite your financial future? Then let's dive right in.
Welcome to the Manifestation and Money podcast, where your journey to financial independence and the life you love begins now.
You have likely heard the term starving artist. Today, Jen Fontanilla joins me on the show to dispel the starving artist stereotype. Imagine being able to redesign your view on money and actually make the money you want. Welcome to the Manifestation and Money podcast, Jen.
Thank you, Jen. I'm so excited to be here with you.
I am excited to have you on the show too, with two Jens talking money. It's happened before, it's happening again. So I would love for you to share with the audience who you are and what your story is.
Yes, I am Jen Fontanilla. I'm located in Los Angeles, California, and I am a money mindset coach for creatives. And basically what I love helping people, entrepreneurs, and professionals in the creative space to undo their limiting beliefs and get rid of their money blocks so that they can thrive and create a life filled with happiness, wealth, and joy.
I love that, because on the show, we talk about money and we talk about the people striving for financial independence and retiring early. And some of those people want $1 million in the bank so they can sleep at night. And lots of times a creative person, they want the lifestyle, right? They want to be able to do the thing that just fills their heart up and be paying their bills at the same time and allow for fun things. But for them, well, I don't know if I'm putting words into their mouth, but just to have more of the lifestyle piece of it. Does that sound accurate?
I think so. I think so. And there are some creatives who tend to be technical as well, and when I say technical, they're more methodical in their approach versus I'm a free spirit and I just want to have this lifestyle. But yes, I think that's a pretty accurate statement. It's an interesting thing where creatives have to balance between the passion and taking care of responsibilities, as well as I want to do those things, but then also how do I create this lifestyle that I dream about?
Yeah. So you come in and you kind of help them connect the dots then between what they're wanting to do and the bigger pieces of their life, like paying their bills or allowing for the big things. Like because to me, the starving artist mentality comes to mind, right?
Right. And I think that's very common. And, it's a phrase that we've either grew up with, depending if you are a creative, and that was a phrase that was thrown at you. Do you want to be a starving artist? Or the other one is, do you want to be a struggling actor? Especially if you're here out in LA. Or you hear these limiting beliefs that are just ingrained since childhood, and you have this constant battle of fighting against it. But it's about helping people understand that we can have it all, that we can create this lifestyle, you can live out your passion, your artistic dreams, and how do you make this all work? Because if you are somebody that was growing up with those ideas, you're ingraining that, right? That becomes part of your subconscious patterns, and then you start to believe it. And then it comes to a time when you realize, wait, I don't need to choose that. Now, how do I work past these beliefs? How do I start to change this and start moving my mindset and my energy and focus into building wealth, that it is possible, or that I don't have to take a traditional route that I don't want to take?
So how do you help somebody? Because I am just reflecting, I automatically put the label starving artist on them, right? So I put my own limiting belief on an artist right out of the gate, right? So how do you help somebody who has their own limiting beliefs and move towards, oh, I don't have to have a glass ceiling, the sky's the limit kind of thing?
Yes, I think one of the most important things, as much as creatives want to just focus on the passion and the creating, we do have to still do adulting. And this is where my former financial advisor hat comes back on, not to give investment advice, but to reiterate, it is important that we do take a look at the numbers. And we have to start, so this is important, we have to start with knowing where we're at. That requires taking a look at the money that you have, the bank accounts, investment accounts, different things, savings accounts, and then also knowing what amount of debt do you have, what is the percentage of the interest rate, what are the terms and conditions, what are the balances, all these different details. We need to look at it. And I know sometimes as creatives, we may be like, I don't want to look at that. That's, those are numbers. But I gotta tell you, when you learn how to look at it differently and shift the perspective, it actually is very empowering. You start to feel good that you're gaining sense of financial literacy, financial personal management of your money. And then it starts to become this thing that you look forward to. Oh, where am I at now? Okay, is the situation getting better? Because nothing feels worse than staying lost. And I know it's this scary moment where you have to stop and just look at the numbers. But if you look at it from a perspective of, you know what, I'm going to face this. I'm going to stop and pause and just take a look at where I'm at. They are just numbers. But I think what's important is to understand that you have the opportunity at that point to change things, to make things better. What's scarier is when you continue to keep your head in the sand underground and not look at it and then just continue with life. And then one day, it's usually too late. You decide to look at it, like some former clients that I had before, they're looking at their retirement accounts at 50 or 60 and they're asking themselves and they're asking me, how can I retire? And I'm like, you can't. And in my head, I'm thinking, why are we looking at this now? When it should have been years ago, because you can't take back that time. You cannot get that time back. You lost out on a compounding interest and all these different things. It's so important to look at that moment. So I would say, amongst other things, the first thing to do is just know your numbers, know where you're at, and then let's work from there.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. And for a creative, it sounded like you almost gamified it in there for a sec. Once they know what they are, then they kind of get excited about the progress moving forward from that. And I know for my creative heart, that part would make that exciting for me. So do you have any fun case studies of clients or things, transformations that you've seen from somebody coming from a low place that's moved themselves into that higher elevation?
Yeah, I have one. She was in New York and she had these dreams of pursuing her copywriting. Loved writing, wanted to do that for a long time. And in her situation, she had a mother, and this is coming from an immigrant family. So her mother was constantly telling her to go into a certain field or go into real estate, or why don't you just go do this, or why don't you just do this job? And watching my client go through all this kind of heavy conversation with her mom, and that in itself created a lot of friction and tension, as you can imagine. I just felt her heart sink every single time. And then I would ask her, okay, well, what is it that you truly want to do? And she's like, I want to write. She's like, I love writing. I want to write. And that's what I want to do. Her other dream was to get the heck out of New York. She didn't want to be there. She had grown up there. So she had these dreams of leaving New York and going to Texas and then creating her own entrepreneurial journey of becoming a copywriter. So she had all this in her mind, right? And then she's fighting all these limiting beliefs. And it was pretty heavy. There were some things that we had to work through. She's like, well, Jen, this is what I heard all my life. And she also got stuff from her dad's side and then her mom's side as well on top of things. So when I say that, I mean, like, she's hearing one part of, you got to do this and get this kind of job. And the other person is saying, like, don't buy those things. So she's having all these different money stories piling up over the years, right? So eventually we worked through things and I had to help her look at things differently, help her to understand, okay, whose voice is this? When you hear this, what's coming up for you? And when that happens, whose voice is that? And so we were able to identify, okay, that came from this incident when you were running track and you were still in high school. Okay, well, what did that teach you? Okay, is that true? And I think sometimes we just have to stop and pause and think about all the things that we've gone through in our life to understand, oh, that's where that belief came from. Do I want to continue to own that? Do I want to continue to believe that? Oftentimes the answer is no. So it's working through all those different things. So there were various things about like when she was going through college and classes and how do I pay for this? So we took inventory of all these different events, and eventually things started to chip away, and she still kind of struggled. It's not like this immediate, like, okay, I looked at it and ta-da, like I'm completely healed. But you understand that it's a journey. And that's just how it is in life, right? You're constantly learning, you're constantly evolving. And as you learn more about yourself, you start to develop a greater sense of self-worth. And as you do that, your net worth also develops with it. And so in the end, she was able to finally move. And so she decided to move to Texas, and she actually did. It was her dream for a long time. And so it was nice to see her follow through with all of that. And I was just so thrilled for her. And so now she created a new life and a new journey as she moved.
Wow, that's fascinating. And you said in there, life is a journey. And I think the more people can tap into that and realize that you are the person who gets to dictate where your life wants to go. If you have a limiting belief and it's not even true and you're still believing it, what's the point? Limiting beliefs come up all the time on here. How can you find those people to bring into your world, to bring into your court, to help you see that you even have those limiting beliefs, and then help you pull you through the weeds to be like, okay, now you're through the weeds. What do you want? The world is your oyster. You get to choose. And we get hung up. I don't know if you're wanting to go into your story a bit here, because you are in this creative space and you are helping these creatives with this creative pull, but you have the background in finance. You had a real estate portfolio. You said you went through some crazy ups and downs in that world. So can we talk about your story for a bit too? Because it sounds like a bit of a roller coaster.
Yes, a crazy roller coaster. Yeah, I'm happy to share it. I think there's so many learnings and teachings from it, and I'm always happy to talk about it, because even for someone like me in this position, like, oh my gosh, I totally have screwed up so many things. And trust me, like you said, Jen, it is a learning process, and every time you learn from one lesson, life takes you to the next one. And so it actually started years ago. I used to be married, and this was circa 2005, 2006, before that market crash in 2008. And it was great. I was a senior graphic designer. I was having a wonderful time as a designer, creating all these different things for the movie industry, displays that you see in stores. So it's really interesting, right? I'm going into stores, I'm going into like Target and Costco, and I see the things that are in my computer. So it's like that experience as a designer. And then I was just, wow, what do I do now? And that's when I started building up a real estate portfolio. And when the market crash happened in 2008, I lost everything. Not only that, I ended up losing my marriage on top of that. And then I also took a hit because everything was in my name. I had the credit at that time between the two of us. Oh my gosh, I took the hit. I had to file bankruptcy. I had IRS issues up the yin yang because everything was in my name. And I'm trying to navigate not only through the finances, but I'm also trying to navigate through this divorce. And it was a mess. It was a complete mess. And then everybody is freaking out because of the market. So I'm also trying to manage the behavior and the activity of the clients who are trying to freak out. And I'm just like, okay, what else can go wrong? So I've been through that. And one of the things that I learned through that whole crash was stay calm. And the more calm that I could stay and be centered, the more that the people I was around and that I was helping could stay that. Because imagine when you're around frantic energy, you feel that, right? And I wanted that to be a moment where I could help people just, it's going to be okay. And so that was one thing that I learned from that moment. And then after that, it was just this rebuilding, right? It was just like, all right, one thing at a time. So if anybody out there is going through a really difficult time, or you think that you have screwed up, trust me, with what you heard or what I just told you, like if I can recover from that, you can get through whatever it is that you're going through, because everything is fixable within time. And so it became this journey of discovering, who am I and what do I want to do? And for so long, I was trying to separate these two worlds of the financial advising world, investment world. And then I happened to do the graphic design, because I've been in graphic design for 25 years. And then I've been in financial services for 19. And I was trying to keep them separate. And what I learned over the more recent years was like, wait a minute, how do I stay true to myself? Like, why am I trying to keep this separate? And I think sometimes you kind of feel like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm multiple personality and this looks bad. But I promise you, if you're creative, you will find a way for it to work. You will. It will click one day. The more that you get rid of the things that don't belong in your life, setting boundaries, letting go, becoming detached, all these different things that allows you to clear the energy, you will get answers when you're still. And then you're going to look and see, how am I aligning my purpose and my passion to what it is I'm doing? And I think when I did that, I know when I did that, that's when things just started to flow with more ease and grace. And it's just this wonderful feeling that I want people to experience, because now you know that you're in alignment and in congruency with what it is that you truly want to do.
That really resonated for me right now. And that was well put, because at the end of the day, like I always come back to, it is your life. And I had a business coach to say to me in the last year, because for me, I'm like, I love money, but I also love manifestation and the ease of doing things that feel good to make money and then have fun spending the money. Money is good to me. And she's like, pick a lane, money or manifestation, right? And I was like, well, you know what? The podcast is called the Manifestation and Money Podcast, because this is my life. This is my show. This is my world, right? And the more I got to lean into that, the more good things that have been coming as a result of me being able to lean into who I am, right? So to hear that, and to hear that you had a bunch of stuff, you lost it all. You kept your composure. You kept that good energy of it's going to be okay. And you were able to rebuild. And it sounds like you were so intentional with your rebuild of really leaning into who you are when you were putting the pieces back together.
I would agree with that, Jen. And I think, I think a lot of it also has to do with just getting older and becoming more mature and learning from everything that you go through and finding out how tough you are and how resilient you are. And I think you do get to a point where you just realize, like, wait a minute, why can't I do this? You hear people say things to you like, well, no, you can't do that. Pick one or the other. Or my question is always, well, why not? Mm-hmm. Why can't I? Well, I'm going to do it anyway. And so when I have leaned more into that, you just realize at the end of the day, what it is that you are discovering the power of being true to yourself. And there's nothing more valuable or more powerful than that, because when you operate from that space of doing what you want to do, how you want to do it, how you want to structure it, you're just going to attract and manifest these different things that align with you, because you are so solid. You're operating at this super high vibrational frequency. You can't help but all the right things come to you. So I think it's kind of interesting when we hear advice like that. And I'm sure people have good intentions and mean well, but they also may not realize, like, wait a minute, if I have to pick one and feel like I'm sacrificing the other, and I don't feel true to myself because I'm not doing all the things I want, there's going to be this missing element that's not coming into your life. And we all know that feeling, right? It's this thing that's missing, like something's kind of off. But when you don't feel that anymore, I truly believe it's because now you're doing what you want. Like, you're designing it how you see fit. And that's when it feels like magic. That's when it feels like, oh my gosh, is this really happening? I can't believe that just happened for me. Oh my gosh, I just met this person. And I was looking for somebody that could do this, right? We've all experienced those kinds of moments. And I really, truly believe it's because we're being true to ourselves and operating from that incredible magical space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That you said it's spot on. And you are a girl with your words and your authority. So I want to talk about your newest book.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, so the book is my 7th one, and it's called The Creative Code, A Creative Professional's Way to Happiness, Wealth, and Joy. And I will say this book is more about how do you discover what it is within you that you need to work through. So it doesn't talk about money per se in the sense of like, okay, we need to build an emergency fund and we need a budget. And those things are important, but I really wanted this to focus on the inner work. And so this is about clearing your energy, aligning with who you truly are, and discovering what it is that you really want to do. And then how do you ingrain those beliefs that, hey, yes, I can be a creative, I can make money, I can build wealth. It doesn't have to be this starving artist mentality, or that I have to pick a lane or a path that I truly don't want to do just because I think that's going to pay the bills. And so it's talking about all those things and helping people understand that you can have it all, and that there is a way to be in that creative space and build the wealth, and pretty much dispel all those limiting beliefs and those money stories that we grew up with. If you happen to have parents that really said those things to you, like, you can't do that, you're going to be destitute and you're going to be poor. I mean, over the years, I've heard all kinds of crazy things, and this is the time to get rid of that and to realize, no, this is time for me to step into my power, live out my creative and artistic passions and dreams, and build a life that I truly want.
Mm. I love that. I highly recommend the listeners go check out your book. I'm grabbing a copy for myself because I love your energy, and I love the cover art on the book. It just totally drew me in. The viewers have to see it for themselves, but it spoke to me. It gave me that feeling of possibility and just intrigue. So I will add that in the show notes for people to click through easily to access. And where else can listeners reach out to you?
Yes, you can go to my site. It's jenmoneycoach.com, JEN moneycoach.com. And then that same handle on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for joining me on the show today, Jen.
Thank you, Jen. My pleasure.
Hold up. I see the perfect segue here. Whether you're a starving artist or you're simply noticing your bank account not stretching as far these days, simply put, you want more money in your pocket at the end of the month. Well, I've got an exciting new program launching in September, and it is designed to help you see the money-making opportunities all around you. And as a bonus for my podcast listeners, I'm offering an early bird price of $97 because I know you guys are action takers and I feel like rewarding that. So shoot me a message on Instagram at the Manifestation and Money Podcast, or I'll drop my email in the show notes for easy access. Let me know that you want the podcast special offer, and I'll take care of the rest for you. Cheers to creating a life you love.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of the Manifestation and Money Podcast. If you enjoyed today's conversation and want to continue your journey to financial empowerment and creating a life you love, be sure to subscribe, rate, and leave a review.
Come follow us on Instagram at Manifestation and Money Podcast or at 4Leaf Lifestyle for more inspiration and behind the scenes content. Remember, your life is yours to live. Your financial freedom journey is as unique as you are. So hop in the driver's seat. It's time to create the life of your dreams.